ביאור משנה א', כל האוכל כזית חמץ בפסח במזיד חייב כרת. If anybody eats a measurement of chametz kezais on Pesach on purpose, he gets cut off from the Jewish nation, he gets karet. שנאמר, where does it say that? It says in Nishmot, כי כל אוכל חמץ, anybody who eats chametz, ונכרתה הנפש ההיא מישראל. And that soul gets removed from the Jewish people. במה דברים אמורים? It says, when are we talking about that he gets cut off in the Jewish nation? כשהוא אוכל חמץ גמור בעין. When he eats, chametz means bread, or anything that looks like bread. גמור בעין, that you can see it. אבל, in other words, you can see that it was bread, you can see that it was pita, you can see that it was cracker. אבל האוכל חמץ על ידי תערובת. But if you eat chametz, that it was mixed, for example, you make meatballs, you put a little bit of flour inside meatballs, so that it will stick, or a little bit of bread inside the meatballs, and you eat meatballs with a little bit of bread, that's what you eat? אבל האוכל חמץ על ידי תערובת, if it's a mixture, מעורב עם דברים שאינם חמץ, when you make the meatballs with a little bit of bread, let's say, that are chametz, then אינו חייב כרת. It is not, we will see if it's איסור דאורייסה or not איסור דאורייסה, but even for that, it's not an obligation of kares. You don't get cut off from the Jewish nation. ברמב"ט, אם אכל כזית חמץ בתוך התערובת בכדי אכילת פרס, but if the person ate enough meatballs that there's enough bread inside to make a kazait in a certain measurement of time, כאכילת פרס, whatever the measurement is, we're going to see soon, I hope. היינו, or you said, כדי שיעור אכילת חצי כיכר, the measurement is the time that it takes a person to eat half a loaf, שמידתו 3 ביצים, half a loaf it is with 3 eggs, ודת אחרים 4 ביצים, according to other opinions it is 4 eggs, עובר על הלאו, he's still transgressed a mitzvah from the Torah, not from the rabbis. Which transgression? It says, כל מחמצת לא תאכלו. It says, any kind of chometz you should not eat. Not just the, maybe you don't get kares, but it says, and therefore, chayav malkos, is obligated leshes. He doesn't get cut off from the Jewish nation, but there is an obligation of leshes. משנתנו מונה מיני תערובת חמץ. So this Mishnah is going to talk to us all kinds of mixtures of chametz. שאין בהם כזית חמץ בכדי אכילת פרס. And in these cases, obviously the person did not eat enough of the meatballs, let's say for example, that he has a kezais chametz. In order to eat, to get kares, you need to eat a kezait. If you don't eat kezait, you don't have the kares.
Anytime you eat less than kezait, you don't have a kares.
Even if it's on purpose, yeah, even if it's purpose.
Or even a lechem, it doesn't matter how much.
Oh, lechem, it's anything. Yeah, bread, anything. But ta'arovet is you need a kazais. שאין בהם כזית חמץ, וכן מיני חמץ נוקשה. We're also going to talk about hard chametz. We're going to see what it is, hard chametz, what they did. People don't usually have it these days. היינו חמץ שאינו ראוי לאכילה. It's chametz that is not befitting to be eaten. והיא באה להשמיענו, it comes to teach us, שאף על פי שאין עוברים עליה בבל יראה ובל ימצא, that even though if it's hard chametz, unedible hard chametz is found in your house, even though you don't have the transgression of having chametz in your house, because this is not befitting for be eating, מכל מקום חייבים מדרבנן לבערם בפרב פסח. Nevertheless, you're required from the rabbis to burn them. So if you find hard chametz during Pesach, you still will have to burn it. And he's going to discuss what it is soon. אלו עוברים בפסח. It says, these are, you have to destroy them on Pesach. You have to remove them from the world on Pesach. אלו מתבערים מן העולם. These you have to burn from the world. In other words, you have to destroy them. ויש מפרשים כלשון המשנה. There are those who explains, אלו עוברים מן העולם. It says, these pass from the world, כלומר שמעברים אותם לפני פסח. We need to burn them before Pesach. The first thing, קותח הבבלי. A קותח בבלי. What's a קותח בבלי? הקותח מין רוטב לטיבול מאכלים שונים. It is a kind of rotev. How do you say rotev in English? A kind of dressing, that's right, that you put other foods in it, like hummus, טחינה, something לנגב, כמו שאומרים. שהיו עושים בבבל, they used to make it in בבל, על ידי תערובת של מי חלב ופירורי פת ומלח. They used to take like milk product and mix with it a little bit of bread, a little bit of salt, and you used to dip your stuff in it, like a little bit like leaven. Yeah. So this is kotach habavli. You don't see chametz in there, but you have to remove it from your. It has chametz. It's a mixture. Destroy it. Veschar hamadi. What's schar hamadi? That's easy. We know what it is. Bira. Our beer. Sechar bira. שהיו עושים במדי מסעורים השרויים ממעלים. You take barley or hops, I don't know what שעורים is, and you put it in water and you make beer out of it. וחומץ האדומי, and vinegar, which comes from Edom, חומץ יין מארץ אדום, it's a vinegar, a wine vinegar from the land of Edom, שמערבים בשעורים, that you mix with it, שעור, like שעור is barley, right? וזיתום המצרי, and also זיתום המצרי, מין שכר שהיו עושים במצרים, it's a kind of liquor they used to make in Egypt, משעורים וקרקום ומלח. They used to put in it barley and karkum and salt. ארבעה מינים אלו, these four kinds, נקראים בגמרא ארבע מיני מדינה, they are called in the Gemara 4 kinds of the country, בבלי, מדי, אדומי ומצרי, from those 4 countries, בבל, מדי, אדום and Egypt, הם חמץ גמור על ידי תערובת. They're considered to be complete חמץ if they're mixed. שבכל אחד מהם מעורב מין דגן. In each one of them, it's a mixed of wheat or barley. אלא בת שאין באכילתם כזית חמץ בכדי אכילת פרס. But you eat them, you're not going to eat the measurement that is befitting to come to the כזית. כמו שבאנו בהקדמה למשנתנו, like we explained in the beginning of the Mishnah, you're not allowed to do them, so therefore go burn them even beforehand. וזומן של צבעים, and זומן of painters. Now, what's a זומן of painters? So it says, מים מעורבים בסובים. They used to take water, and they used to mix it with some wheat product, subim. You know, you know what they do it in Israel? I remember it in the classroom, in kindergarten, they make glue out of it. They make glue out of kemach and water. Yeah. So this is what they used to do. It's like, yeah, they used to make, the painters used to make like seed, like white color out of it. So it says they used to mix wheat and...
Until now they do it.
Until now they do it. Yeah. They did it for kids, so if they eat it, it's not going to be a problem. But the painters still do it. מים מעורבים בסובים, שהצבעים משתמשים למלאכתם. This is the painters used to use for their job. And then you have a mixture again. It's a mixture of water and this, not allowed. ועמילן של טבחין. Oh, now what's עמילן של טבחים? So עמילן של טבחים is pat, it's bread, complete bread like our bread, but it's bad bread. The bakers used to take the bread that is not rising, it's like bad bread, whatever it is, it's not good consistency, and they used to they used to use it to seal the pots. It was like a seal. They used to smear it on the, if you want to seal something, or the pots, they used to seal the pots with it. So, פת שהטבחים עושים מתבואה שלא הביאה שליש בשולה. It is from bad wheat that is not befitting to make good stuff out of it, so they used to make like a sealant, let's call it. ומכסים בה את הקדרה, and they used to cover this with the pots, לשאוב את הזוהמה. Once you cover it and you bake the food with the pot in it, all the dirtiness from the pot will come onto it. So it's a way of to either seal it in order for things not to escape, or seal it in order to clean it. They used to cover it, put it in the oven, and then when you take it off, it becomes, all the dirtiness comes out with it. Okay. So all these things, again, they're not really edible. That's the idea. Nobody eats them. וכולן של סופרים, and also a kulan of the writers, of those who סופרים, דבק העשוי מקמח, it's a glue that is made out of flour, שהסופרים מדבקים בו ניירותיהם, that all the people who write stick their papers with it. שלושה מינים אלו הנקראים בגמרא שלושה מיני אומניות. This is called in the Gemara 3 types of אומנות. הם חמץ נוקשה. This is considered to be חמץ נוקשה, hard חמץ, בעין, but you can see it. כלומר, so even though you can see it, nobody is going to eat it. It's not befitting for consumption. Nobody eats it such a way. שאינו ראוי לאכילה, it is not befitting to be eating, והוא אינו מעורב עם דברים אחרים, but it's not a mixture. So Rabbi Eliezer, so according to this, Rabbi Eliezer, ויש גורסים, and there are those who says Rabbi Elazar, it's not Rabbi Eliezer, it's Rabbi Elazar, אומר, he says, אף תכשיטי נשים, also women's makeup. Yeah, תכשיטי נשים, the things that women beautify themselves with. בגמרא מגיעים במשנתנו, the Gemara explains in the Mishnah, אף טיפולי נשים, also the things that the women used to beautify themselves. והיינו, what are these? סממנים מעורבים בסולת, the all kinds of spices mixed together with wheat products, שנשים תופלות אותם על בשרם, that the women put them on their skin, for example, להשאיר את השיער, if they want to remove hair. רבי אליעזר מוסיף התנא קמא, רבי אליעזר ועד זון תנא קמא, שאפילו חמץ נוקשה על ידי תערובת אסור לקרוא בפסח וצריך לבערו. It says that even חמץ נוקשה, that is mixed, don't say because you have two, one is not edible, and then it's mixed, then it's okay to keep it on Pesach. It says no, go ahead and burn it. Yeah? אבל חכמים סוברים, but the sages says, שחמץ נוקשה על ידי תערובת, it says no, if you have both, חמץ נוקשה is not from the Torah, and תערובת is also not from the Torah, so if you combine them both together, then it's permissible, you don't have to burn it. That's what the Chacham said. אין בו איסור חמץ ואין צריך לבערו. It says this is not called חמץ because we have two of them, and you don't need to, you're not required to burn it.
One is מחמצת. One is a מחמצת, שלא תעשה מחמצת התערובת.
Yeah, but when it's nukshe, it's not. But when it's nukshe, it's not edible. So the prohibition is that you will come to eat. This is not. You're never going to come to eat, so we don't worry about it.
That's why it's not מחמצת, because you can eat it. Because it is תערובת של מחמצת, לא?
Not exactly, because according to this logic, also matzah is תערובת של מחמצת. And the matzah itself, it's also תערובת של מחמצת according to this logic. But matzah is mutar.
No, how do you know?
Because it didn't rise. Over here, it's not risen. It's a hard thing. If it and even if it did rise, you don't have a prohibition on it.
Because you can eat it.
Yeah. אין בו איסור חמץ ואין צורך לבערו. זה הכלל. So this is the ruling. Here comes the ruling. כל שהוא ממין דגן. Anything that is made out of wheat, barley, spelt, rye, all these kinds that we know, כל חמץ שהוא 5 מיני דגן, any of the 5 kinds, wheat, חיטים, שעורים, קוסמים, שיפון, שיבולת שוער, wheat, barley, spelt, oats, and one more, אף אם הוא מעורב במינים אחרים, even if it's mixed up with other kinds, הרי זה עובר בפסח. You have to remove it from the word on Pesach. מן העולם, you have to make sure it doesn't exist. כלומר, שאסור לקיימו בפסח וצריך לבערו, you need to burn it. הרי אלו שנמנו למעלה, באזהרה, and all those that we mentioned above, even though you don't get karet from them if you don't eat it in the right amount, the Torah still warned on them. Why? שהאוכל אותם עובר בלב של כל מחלת מצת לא תאכלו. So even though you don't get karets, you still, since they have reason, you still have the prohibition of every machmetzet that should not be eaten. Asking the question on the other kind, it's not something that is eating, you don't have a problem with it.
Right, that's what I was trying to understand.
You're not eating it. Ve'en b'hem mishum karet. And those that you do eat, even though you do eat it through a mixture, since it doesn't have the measurement,
it's
only lashes. En b'hem mishum karet. You don't have karet from it. Sherak al chametz gamur ba'ayin, because the Torah prohibited only on if it looks like chametz. Yesh chiyuv karet, ve'lo al tarovet chametz. The Torah then never prohibited on a mixture of chametz, or chametz nukshe, or a hard chametz. כמו שביארנו בהקדמה למשנתנו, like we explained in the introduction to the Mishnah. יש מפרשים, שזה הכלל, הוא סיום דברי התנא. This is what some say, this is the end of the opinion of the guy who wrote this Mishnah. This is the end of his opinion. ונמצא שדברי התנא של משנתנו, and according to this opinion, the Tana of the Mishnah, chametz gamur al yedei ta'arovet, that if you have complete chametz through a mixture, af in ein bo kezait b'chdei achilat pras, even if it doesn't have the right measurement, האוכל מן התערובת אפילו כזית בלבד עובר בלאו וחייב מלקות. According to this opinion, then even if he does eat a kezait, yeah, he doesn't get the prohibition, he doesn't go over the prohibition, and he only gets malkos, he doesn't get kares. והוא הדין בחמץ נוקשה, and this is also the law in chametz, in hard chametz that you don't eat. ברם אין הלכה כן, but the halacha is not like this. ויש מפרשים שזה הכלל, אינו מדברי התנא. In other words, that some say that this is the rule, is someone that disagrees with the Tana. And what does he says? אלא המשך דברי רבי אליעזר. This is the words of רבי אליעזר. כלומר, which means שאומנם תנא קמא חולק על רבי אליעזר וסובר. It's true that the Tana Kama disagrees with Rabbi Eliezer. And the Tana Kama holds Sheminei Tarovet Elu, that if you have a mixture, all those mixtures that the Mishnah has said, for example, beer or kutach or bread pudding, whatever it is, Ho'il ve'en b'achilatam kezayin chametz b'chakasa. It says, when don't you get, not going over the prohibition, when you don't have a kezais only, not when you also have a kezais, en ha'ochlam over belav klal. It says the one who eats them doesn't even have a transgression. והוא הדין באוכל חמץ נוקשה אפילו בעינו. And it says, and he thinks that, he's actually more lenient, not less lenient. He thinks that in those things there's not even a prohibition. It says, not even lashes you get. And if you eat chametz nukshe, it's not called food at all. By the way, where do we use it today? This chametz nukshe. Some medicine for Pesach is made, it's considered to be, some people will take the medicine, why? On Pesach, even though the medicine is made out of wheat, out of gluten, because it's chametz nukshe, it's not edible. It says, what do you want from me? It's not edible. Yeah, it's not an edible thing. People don't eat it.
And you don't take it kazait. You have to have the tool.
Yeah, according to the first opinion, though, you still shouldn't take it. Kol machmetzet. Yeah. So, but according to the second opinion, it says not a problem at all. Beram isur chametz yesh bahem. But the Torah says, yeah, you should stay away. You don't get kares, you don't get lashes. Everything is true. That doesn't mean go ahead and have them in your house all the time, yeah? וכן שנו בברייתא בגמרא, and this is what the Gemara says, כל מחמצת לא תאכלו. This is why the Torah tells you any kind of mixture you should not eat, לרבות קוטח הבובלי, to bring in all these kinds of mixtures, וסחר עמדי, וחומץ האדומי, וזיתו המצרי, all these beers and liquors, יכול יהיה אנוש כרת. It says you would think if you drank beer, the punishment, it's only a mixture, the punishment is kares. Talmud lomar, ki kol achel chametz v'nichrata. It's only when you eat chametz that looks like chametz, then you get cut off from the Jewish nation.
Between eating and drinking, you can say, I didn't eat it, I drink it.
It doesn't, I think so. I think so. No, I think there is a difference, because it says kol ochel chametz, it needs to look like bread. And it looks like bread.
It doesn't say on shtiya.
That, I don't know if that's the differentiation. Differentiation, it has to, you consider it's chametz. Beer, you can't see it's chametz. It looks like water. It looks like anything else. It means ba'ain. Ba'ain means it looks like. It has the appearance of. It has the appearance of bread. Any kind of bread. I think that's what it means.
No, my question is different. If there is any difference in Pesach between achila and shtia, or the shtia included in achila, ולא תאכל חמץ.
When it says when it says לא תאכל חמץ, it can only be eating.
Only eating.
Because it has to look like bread. Right? How are you going to? How are you going to eat anything else? Yeah. Even if you can eat it, I don't know. Make it ice and eat it as ice. Even then, it's not. Oh, that is ba'ain. That's the idea. Al chametz dagan gamur anishkaret. Only if you eat the process of the baking of the baker, of the bread product, you obligated karet. But if you mix it, it's only a negative commandment. You're transgressing a lav, not a kares. This is the very Rabbi Eliezer. This is according to Rabbi Eliezer. וחכמים אומרים על חמץ דגן גמור אנוש כרת. It says if you eat bread you get karet. על עירובו בלא כלום. It says and if you mix it, nothing. Not even a prohibition from the Torah. The rabbis maybe they disallow it, but you don't have a prohibition in the Torah. So the argument is if you drink beer, for example, Chachamim says the rabbis they didn't say go ahead. No, it says you're not allowed. They didn't say go ahead and eat. They said you're not going to get kares and you're not going to get lashes. That doesn't mean you're allowed to eat it. Yeah. There's no punishment because God says the fact that you don't get punishment doesn't mean you're allowed to do it. For example, stealing. Let's take an example. Stealing. You don't get a punishment if you steal less than a penny. Does that mean you're allowed to steal? No, there's no punishment. You need a certain criteria in order to be over the thing. So you're out on a technicality, not because you didn't do anything wrong. That's the idea. Yeah, that's what the rabbi says. וכותב הריף, and the Rif says, אף על פי שאמרו חכמים. Oh, here's the Rif is talking about your question. The Rif says, even though the sages says, al iruvo belo klum, it says, don't worry about it, like you said, you don't get any punishment. ללקוט אינו לוקה, it says, you don't get lashes. אבל איסור חמץ יש בו, but it's still חמץ. במה דברים אמורים שני לוקה, it says, when don't you get lashes? כשאין בתערובת כזית חמץ בכדי אכילת פרס. It says, you don't get lashes, according to Chachamim, when you don't eat enough chametz at the time that it takes to eat a meal, whichever, it's usually 24 minutes. Yeah? If you can drink a lot of beer, but if you don't eat enough bread in that beer in 24 minutes to have a kazais, you don't get lashes. If you do, let's say it's mixed up with meatballs and you eat enough meatballs with the bread in 24 minutes to have the measurement kazait, then even according to the rabbis, you get lashes. So in other words, even the rabbis prohibit it. It says we just can give it to you, technicality we can give you lashes. But you're not supposed to be eating it. כגון קוטח הבבלי וכאלה, like bread pudding, קוטח הבבלי and similar. אבל כשיש כזית חמץ בכדי אכילת פרס, but when you eat the right measurement, אף חכמים סוברים שהאוכלו לוקה. Even the sages says that you get lashes. בארנו את הרשע של משנתנו לפי הר"ן והר"ן ברטנורה. We explained the beginning of the Mishnah according to the Ran and the Bartenura. אבל רש"י והרמב"ם מפרשים, רש"י and the Rambam explains, אלו עוברים בפסח. It says, when it says these עוברים בפסח, will learn it, עוברים בפסח, remove them from the world. Yeah? They learned it, אלא שעוברים עליהם בבל ייראה ובל יימצא. It says, you are transgressing if you have them in your possessions. That's the way they learn it. כלומר, שלדעתם מינים אלו, according to them, these kinds, these mixtures, or this hard chametz, שמנו במשנה, טעונים ביור, it says they need to be burnt. Why? לפי שאסורים מן התורה, because they're prohibited from the Torah. אמנם פירוש זה אינו נראה לרבנו תם, רבנו תם doesn't like this explanation, והוא מפרש, אלו עוברים בפסח, it says, these are passing away in פסח, אלו עוברים אל השולחן, they should be removed from your table. כלומר, שאין צריכים לבערם, he explains it like the חכמים, you don't need to burn them, אלא שאדם מוזהר עליהם שלא לאכלם, but you're warned not to eat them.
רבנו תם אומר, you don't need to burn them, but don't eat it.
That's right. Yeah? Almost like חכמים.
כן.
Because it can lead you.
It's very משונה.
But
what about בל ייראה ובל יימצא? The חכמים don't care.
the בל ייראה,
בירה is not ייראה.
the בל ייראה and בל יימצא, it looks like it's only on which חמץ? חמץ בעין?
In other words, if the בירה you don't see the chametz.
That's right, it's a mixture.
אבל יש לך בל יימצא.
It's not chametz. The title chametz goes off it. It's not. It's not chametz. See, I told you in the beginning. We look at everything just as finished, but they don't look at everything as just finished.